Hello. Good morning, everybody. As we come on in, it is Nick Perro and Soso bringing you the Sick of This Show, Chronic Illness in Practice, episode 3, I believe, today. We have the fortune of bringing on some amazing guests today with us. And so I'm going to start at the top here is we have our friend of the network uh, and um, and just overall friend of the show. She's been with the community for a while, since the beginning, basically, is good friend Beth Cruz, who I've not had the opportunity to speak with before, but I'm so glad to bring her on.
Thank you.
She's part of the chronic illness community with us. She's been vocal about being part of that community. Um, and big piece of this is to bring everyone together and see how we're all doing, and how we're all coping during this time. And so, Beth, before I introduce our other two amazing guests who are with us today, do you mind quickly introducing yourself?
Yeah, I'm Beth Cruz. I suffer from chronic illnesses. Um, I am. I live here in Washington State, and just looking for community of others who have similar circumstance and how they manage their pain. And appreciate being here.
Well, glad to have you, Beth. Thank you for joining us. And then next on our line is Stephanie Wilson. She is a friend and returning guest with us. She's a historian, founder of the Freedom Over Fascism podcast, and also just another one of us who's trying to get by, and trying to get ahead in this world with chronic illnesses and make sure that people are still being able to see and hear everything going on. I love the work that Stephanie does. I listened to your podcast yesterday, and it was such a great episode. So if you're not following Stephanie, please do subscribe to her. I will make sure to put information and links out as we're going through the show. So don't worry, everyone in the chat. I'm pulling things up as we're introducing Stephanie. Do you mind introducing yourself to everyone?
My pleasure. Hi, everyone. I'm Stephanie. And as Nick said, I was trained as a historian. I have chronic daily migraine. I do podcasts with people who talk about freedom and fascism. And I am the mother of a teenage son and a cute white dog. And I'm really glad to be here with you guys because sometimes it feels real isolating to feel like crap and still either, kind of just hide or push through it. So I'm glad to meet you, Beth and Descent, and see you, Soso and Nick, and whoever we have also with us.
And thank you, Stephanie, and welcome again. And finally, we have our friend Descent in Bloom. She is an amazing writer, a worker in the healthcare field, another chronic illness sufferer with us. And I love seeing her work, especially the messages of positivity that come out in it, even in this dark time. And we need hope, and we need friends that care and want to be with us. And so thank you, Descent, for joining us. Do you mind introducing yourself to everyone?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I apologize that I'm not on camera. I bought a camera, but as always, technical difficulties because technology hates me. So I run Descent with publication. Descent is obviously a pseudonym. I am also a chronic illness sufferer of the genetic variety. I have several chronic illnesses, including Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I have a chronic carica, migraines, and I have a genetic mutation that's caused early heart failure. So I definitely understand the struggles, and I'm just glad to be here with all of you guys. It's definitely more people this time.
I'm glad to have you and welcome back. I'm trying to figure out the streams. It looks like we are just pending one final one for Soso's stream to be able to begin while we're doing this. Oh, there it goes. And now we should also be live on Sosos. So we should have all 5 of our streams up for everyone Beth, I'm just pulling up yours as well, assuming hopefully it is up so that we all get everybody in the chat, because it is broken apart and sometimes um,
Mm-hmm.
hard to cross communicate. And I want everyone to be involved in all of our communities, and everyone who follows each other to be present. And so thanks again, everyone, for joining. For everyone who's coming in, this is the weekly Monday show I now do for Chronic Illness in Practice. And I wanted to bring on my 4 guests today, well, 3 guests and co-hosts, so that we could all talk about a success that we've had this past week with our chronic illnesses, and a setback, and how we've dealt with those. And so I wanted to open up the floor, maybe start with you, Soso, if you don't mind, and then we'll get into it with everyone. And please feel free to ask questions in the chat. I will be trying to monitor as I go so that everybody can be a part.
Nick, can I ask you a question? Should we be
Yeah.
able to see the chat on our screen, or are you looking on the actual
In
Substack?
Substack.
In
Yeah, in Substack. They don't, Substack doesn't, or Restream does not yet aggregate Substack chats into a single place, which is really annoying. So like I've got all 5 of our streams open on my computer just so that I can try and see everyone's chats and messages as they come in. And I'm seeing people who are saying they're new to the community. Welcome. Please hit the like or the heart as we're going to. We found out something cool today before we get into this, and this was a good question, but also a really good way to boost everybody, is hit the heart button. Every unique person who hits the heart button during the stream actually preloads the stream with a heart and a like already on it, and helps make them larger. And yeah, Morgan, please ask questions through me. I will try and ask questions as we go, if there are any, if you have comments too. And then final thing in the chats, be respectful. I know I only control my chat, and I have muted people before. Let's not do that, especially during a chronic illness chat while we're all trying to help each other. Welcome everybody. And great question, Stephanie. No, they don't aggregate, unfortunately.
right.
Wish they did.
If I can add, that's actually one of my frustration, is that there's so many platforms. You have to use Android, Apple, and it has to be both on the computer, on the phone. So that's one of the struggle I find. But I think that's part of what we have to deal with in this world of technologies. On that note, I don't have my computer right now because my internet is down. So I don't see the chat right now. And as you said, Nick, I don't see it on this live stream, which is on my phone. So if somebody says something, can you please just tell me if you find it pertinent? Because I can't see anything. I don't have a chat, and but I'll be listening and trying to help out as best as I can, and focus on our guest today. It's really good to see you guys.
And so let's start. Does anybody want, or well, not does anybody, Stephanie, do you want to start us with a win from this past week? Let's start on a high note.
Okay. I had a day without a migraine. That's is amazing. A win.
That is amazing.
Paid for it the following day, but okay. I didn't take any migraine meds, and I really didn't have a migraine. That happens so infrequently that that's a win for me. Yeah, so I want to hear everybody else's. I don't want to go into the not wins yet. Let's go for all the high points, because I think that helps us deal with when we talk about the challenges. Mm-hmm. And I'm freezing. I'm really sorry.
Oh, if you need to go warm yourself up too. Like don't freeze yourself out for us. Well, Beth, do you want to
Yeah.
go with, let's shift it real quick into a struggle you had this week, and then end with a win.
Yeah, I did have a struggle this week. I took a fall at a bonfire, and it was sloped, and I didn't see it. It was in the dark, and I took a fall, and of course, went into a flare. And
Oh, sorry about that.
yeah, it was. I tend to get, if I get stressed, I'll get a flare. So with my psoriatic
Same.
arthritis or my fibro, whatever, I went into a flare, but the win was I got through it. And this morning I got up and I didn't feel exhausted. So that was a big win this morning.
That's amazing. That's a great way to start. I love it.
It was a good win.
Oh no, we lost Stephanie from
Last Stephanie.
That's okay. She will be back. I have no doubt. Beth, I'm trying to also figure out what happened to your stream. I've got.
Did we lose my stream?
No, it actually looks like it's streaming your stream to Soso's, and Soso's streaming to her own, which is interesting. As I look at the chat.
Oh
But
no!
I'm seeing what's going on. I'm keeping an eye on it as we go.
I am clueless right now.
I'm
what's
clueless
going on?
too. So
It's
Nick.
there's a lot of streams going on, and as someone with fibro, so I'm a fibro sufferer. And for anyone who's new to the chat and new to the community, is I suffer from fibro, neuropathy in my legs, spinal stenosis, and degenerative spinal stuff, migraines, and a host of other issues. And so my struggle this past week was I not quite and I have ADHD. Is I lost emotional control for a little while this weekend, and had a really bad outburst that I definitely feel remorse for doing, and I'm going to work on making amends to the person who I did it to, because it was inappropriate how I responded as an adult in a situation, and it was because I lost control and I didn't think. And as someone who suffers from chronic illnesses, including depression and anxiety, and emotional control issues at times, like it's really tough, and it's scary for yourself. So that was kind of a loss for this weekend. But a big win, I think, was the ability to navigate just the emotional turmoils from last week in general without losing physical controls with changes in weather, because this time of year is really tough. As the weather gets colder, things hurt more, and that multiplies when there's stressors, and we keep getting new and more stressors every day, which is really annoying. And so, yeah, the win was being able to control for most of the week, not losing some of those other pieces.
That's a big win.
That's huge. I totally agree.
And so, Descent, what about you, friend?
Sorry, I keep having to go back and forth between Substack here. So a win this week is not necessarily that I could think related to my, I guess it's chronic illness. One would be I got time off work, which was nice to recover. But the way that I got time off work was kind of the loss, not necessarily related to my chronic illness, but I broke my pinky toe. So that's been fun.
Oh, not good.
Yeah, it's fun. the other day I was trying to move stuff out of the way to make room because they were bringing in a washer because our washer broke, and in the process of that I managed to have this big antique like table in my dining room, and the legs are like a good 12 inches thick, and I kicked it, and it was not a good time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That really sucks.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean, it sucked to happen, but I got a day off of work and I was able to actually focus on some of my stuff here. So that was a win for me. I finally hit 14,000 subscribers, so that was nice as well too.
Wow, good for you.
Wow, that's
Congratulations.
awesome.
Good.
Hey, if anyone wants, while we're all here, like in the chats and stuff, is go subscribe to everybody who's on the show. I'm gonna start putting out chat links or name links as I can for everybody, so that we're all easily seen. But please go subscribe and follow everybody in the show today, and build these numbers up even more. Like, that's a huge number to set. Awesome.
Mhm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And if you can, subscribe for free instead of follow.
Yes.
Because that's more helpful for us in the algorithm.
Yeah, most definitely. Because the subscribe, the big difference for anyone who doesn't know is subscribe gives you you get access to the emails that are sent by all of us. So if we create any of our big posts, anything like that, you actually get our emails rather than just seeing our notes on your feed. And like Stephanie said, it boosts us in the algorithm. It's huge. It helps spread the awareness. It gets messages and shows like this out, so people can see what's going on and how people are impacted by these conditions and by living with them. So thanks everyone for sharing some good stories and bad story a little bit so far this week. Like that's I love starting off the week on somewhat of a good note.
Can I bring in my good note, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Please do so.
Well, actually, for me, a success would be to let me see. Well, I would say that since last week, I've actually defined objectives. I always try to have not too many, because then I want to do everything. So I would say that because also I was sick, I should mention, for those who don't know me, I also have fibro and fibromyalgia. And I have been, for most of my life, in the process of finding out what happens to me when I hear you, Nick, when you say I lose control. I used to, I would do that when I was younger, but as I got older, I would actually, it's like now if I know I'm going to lose control, I don't feel safe, then I just want to hide somewhere, right? So, I've been getting really better at this. It's just like trying to, first, acknowledging my hypersensitivities, which I've had since I was very young. So like for now, I'm gonna, if the room's gonna be too cold, too hot, it's like, how am I gonna dress? And just right now, this morning, I've been sick for 2 weeks, so getting ready, trying to keep my commitment, which is sometimes when I feel overwhelmed, I might just say, okay, I'm not gonna be able to. And I mean, if I really can't, then, I try to respect myself and not feel guilty. But I have to say, as also some of you know me, I am changing houses in about a month. So it's been insane, like trying to just think of all my, so listening to my priority needs. So then if my body is stable, then I'm able to think more clearly. So that would be, I would say, a big success for me, because I tend to forget it, and I have to remind. It's like I have to get into that state where I lose control, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's how I do it. And then just like go back all over again and do the same thing. But so yeah, I would say that's my success.
Success is success, whatever
It is.
small we can offer, I think. So like you talk about moving, and I know that's a huge stressor, and I know I'll be moving at some point soonish too, and so eventually y'all will see a change in my background for a little while as I rebuild my studio and get things set up. Is with big stressors like that, or even like the little daily stressors, how do you all find a good way to continue working through some of the more impactful or stronger symptoms that we get, and how do you keep yourselves motivated and going forward in that? And that's open for anyone who wants to start. Stephanie, did you want to jump in?
Well, it's kind of related to the bad part of last week because I also have anxiety and depression and probably lots of other things. And yesterday I like couldn't keep a thought in my head. I was like foggy all day, and I was like, why am I doing this? Does anybody even care? Like, what am I like? I don't know what to do to make money, and so I think sometimes for me, even just going through one of those moments and like my husband's like, please don't make any existential decisions when you are having basically an anxiety attack. I was like, okay, fine. And I think for me, that's one of the harder things is I can keep going at whatever pace I can manage. And I've learned to only do the pace I can manage. But I have to feel like I'm contributing. And so like being on these lives is great because like that's immediate. That's immediate gratification. But I think for me is knowing that I'm actually doing something good for the world is one of the things that keeps me going.
Yeah. I like that. How about you, Descent?
I don't really have the answer. Like, I honestly just kind of take it day by day. I never know what each day is going to bring. There's no specific rhyme or reason to it. I think I'm stubborn, honestly.
I think stubbornness helps.
I agree.
I would say stubbornness is a defense mechanism and a tactic to get through it. I know that's been kind of one of the reasons I have never gone over the cliff on some of the more disastrous one-way streets in depression and anxiety, is because I'm too stubborn and I'm not willing to stop or give up.
That's one of my biggest things. And then also just kind of realizing what's important and what's not. Like at the end of the day, I'm gonna have a million and one things to do. I have to prioritize, and I also have to prioritize things for myself. And if that means doing something as simple as, like, for example, what was it? Friday, I really didn't do much. I mean, I was on my phone, but I sat and I binge watched this entire series on Netflix called like Haunted Hotel, which was actually really funny. And that was just something that I did. And it's like, I don't do that often, but I could just tell that I was getting burnt out. And it was like, after I did that, I was able to kind of come back. And I spent the next day writing, and I've already got like my Wednesday article down. I've started writing out plot points for my next Saturday article. And it was just nice to kind of take that moment to do something for me, even if it was bed rotting and watching TV.
I'd rather bed rot and watch some TV. None of that sounds bad. What about you, Beth? Go ahead, Stephanie.
I was to say I binged a show like House of Guinness, which I highly recommend on Netflix. But also I checked out of life for a couple of days while I did that. So
Beth, how about you?
Okay. I think doing meditation, box breathing. I'm really trying to try breathing. You know, I think this, I just want to say this is really so good that you're doing this, because, you know, even in the chat, I'm just seeing so many people come forward, and it is isolating. There's days where I can't do anything. And that's been more recent in my life. And that's kind of a hard one. When you realize that, oh, I can't go walk a mile. who can't walk a mile, and there's days I'm not leaving the chair. So I think for me, trying to get involved in community, um, doing lives, trying to get past the anxiety of doing that, and just listening to others and what works for them. And that's how I get through each day, basically. It's day to day, just like everyone said.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. Mine is a lot of day to day too. Is I do a lot of these lives because it helps me stay focused. Also, I enjoy talking to people, but I do the lives because they really help me stay focused and
Mhm.
like keep my mind busy. Like Stephanie, I think a lot of us feel similar. Is we have to contribute, or we feel like we have to contribute to feel validated in any way, which is also a really bad capitalist symptomology that is killing all of us. I think some of us know very, very closely. I know Dissent, kind of closely or really closely what that looks like when people actually die at work. Um,
Mhm.
and it's really sad. And I actually
Yeah.
wanted to see Dissent. How are you doing since your coworker passed away?
I've kind of mentally checked out at work. I think I'm just kind of writing it until I can leave. I mean, like, I wanted to leave anyway, but that was kind of just very close to home for me. And at that point, I was just like, nah, I'm not dying here at XYZ hospital. And I've been looking for a new job, but I'm also just trying to hold out because I have my hiring bonus when I hit 2 years, and I'll be 2 years at the end of October. But it's been weird, just knowing that he didn't want to leave work, and because he didn't want to, get in trouble and things like that. It just bothered me where people are dying at their jobs. Nurses are dying at their jobs. Like, we're supposed to be the ones saving lives. And it's been, sorry, I'm all over the place this morning. It's been a lot.
No, it's
Okay.
understandable.
Sorry, what I find hard is sometimes to follow everybody's story, and I think that that's why I'm asking the dissent, because I remember some things you were talking about, but I'm not sure that I remember that you had a coworker that passed at work. So was this recent?
Yeah, it was within the last few weeks. Night shifter. It was close to day shift. He told, all night he'd been telling his wife he didn't really feel right. But then he went back because he was Nigerian and his mom was Nigerian. 6 in the morning here, it's like 9 in the morning there. So he went back to make a phone call to his mom, and it's night shift, so everyone kind of thought like maybe he took a nap or something, but he was actually in cardiac arrest and he did not make it. He was 34 years old.
I apologize, but I remember.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. And that's a huge stressor when something happens like that in your work environment, and especially if you're at work, many hours per day. And I remember that you are working a lot, because I was like, was it like last week that we were discussing everything you were doing? I was like,
well, as a nurse, I work 3 12-hour, really 12.5-hour shifts. They schedule us 12.5 hours. They say the half hours for lunch, but we don't get lunch. I do that for 3 days a week, 36 hours. I own a nonprofit. I've been scaling back some of my nonprofit work until next year, just while I figure everything out with like my heart condition. And then I also run this platform. This is actually like my baby, so to speak. I put a lot of time and effort into this passion project, the Descent newsletter, and just media in general that I'm putting out the content, and that's a lot of what I do. But it is a lot, and I also have 2 special needs boys. My boys are autistic with high support needs. I'm autistic with low support needs. And just my chronic stuff going on, and I'm sure all the stress that I put in my body doesn't help, but
No, I definitely don't think the stress does help.
No.
And I think, and I'd love to have a further discussion for anyone here too who are parents about this. Maybe not today, but a continued discussion about parenting specifically, maybe that could be next week's discussion if for anyone who wants to come back. And if anyone wants to join us, please reach out to me and I will absolutely consider. I want to make sure this is a big, thriving community for everybody. Is like, we want to keep these stories coming out, but like, how do we parent? How do we continue to parent in both the rise of fascism, but also in the rise of discrimination against disabled people or people with chronic conditions or anyone with mental illnesses? And those are chronic conditions because they live with you all the time and you have to deal with them every day. And we're in a dangerous territory again with demonization of our conditions and folks like us, especially kids with autism, adults with autism. You cannot cure autism with Tylenol. Autism does not cause Tylenol, or autism is not caused by Tylenol.
And we
Tylenol
don't
is
know if the
safe.
person that made Tylenol was autistic. I mean, autism could have caused Tylenol. I'm kidding. I'm not being a smartass.
Yeah, I mean, autism probably did cause Tylenol because somebody autistic probably invented the damn thing.
Right.
Such as most inventions are driven by people who are non-typical, as they would be construed, or autistic or
Neurodivergent.
Yeah, neurodivergent. But thinking on the illness side and how we treat ourselves for illnesses, there was a question in the chat that I wanted to get to from our friend Morgan X of, do others take mood meds with their chronic illnesses and do they help? And you don't have to say what mood med if you do take one. You don't even have to say if you do. Obviously, that's medical information, and if you don't want to disclose, you don't have to. But and I'll kick it off to answer it is yes. I take a mood med for my chronic
Let's all
condition.
raise our hands.
Yeah, I take a mood med because my main fibro medication is basically a mood med. It's a mood suppressor. I take antidepressant, anti-anxiety medication, which is a mood stabilizer. I take ADHD medication, which is a mood stabilizer. And I take muscle relaxers when needed, which are also a mood stabilizer because your whole body comes back down. So I'm on at least 4 of them. Are they good in conjunction with each other? Maybe not. Maybe they don't always help. But I do take quite a bit of medications. I'm one of those who actually asked my provider to scale back on certain meds because they were too much and they were changing my mood too drastically. Or I was on the wrong medications and they were doing harm to me. So I've also found how my body responds and I listen to it, which I think has been really helpful, because if you don't listen to your body, how are you going to get through it?
Nick, if I can interrupt about this. It's funny because I had this discussion with my mother talking about medication this weekend. And I find that we're talking about prejudice. I find that, unfortunately, there's a lot of disinformation about meds. And because of the lack of, right now, I find there's so many things. Everybody's like saying, I've done my research. I've done my research. You can do your research, but still, I would encourage you to, you can question your doctor, but ultimately, you have to be in a relationship with a good doctor who knows how to, especially those of us who have struggled with, because usually you end up seeing a psychiatrist, because when you start mixing up both mood, because I also have things for my mood, for my, like it's both anxiety, stabilizer, obviously all this stuff, it's going to have some sort of impact on your brain. So you do want to be followed and working in close collaboration with a specialist. And when I say a specialist, I'm saying a medical person, someone who has a license, because unfortunately I find that there are so, but anyways, that's kind of a struggle of mine. I find, because my mother is that older generation, was like, I'm afraid of taking pills. It's like, I'm going to take natural products. I mean, And I have a very close experience with somebody who refused to take, like, she totally went into a major, kind of like the whole what's happening. I'm saying the States, but it's kind of worldwide. People are like, oh, we have to take natural stuff. But then what if you start going that rabbit hole and you're not getting the right treatment, because it's easy to fall prey to wrong information. And even though I find it super hard to say and to admit, I do take those medication for even me, but I do find that it's really helped me, because it is a medical treatment. And when you do have both, it could be a physical disorder or a psychological disorder, and most of the times they interact together, then you need to be in a working collaboration with someone who knows what they're doing. I mean, I think for those who've known me, I come from a very difficult family. I've had lots of traumas, and I have very close people to me who have committed, who took their own life. And I have made a decision that I am always going to go seek help, even though there's a lot of prejudice that come with that. Like saying, I've seen I don't know how many psychologists I've seen, psychiatrists, and it's really hard because if you know me, I do have a master in psychology, and I tried to be a psychologist, but because of all that crap, it was really hard to be a psychologist. So anyways, so I'm just saying, I do though want to say that if those people would have, gotten the help and being willing to follow their treatment, I'm sure they will still be here today. So just a big aside.
Well, I think, go ahead, Descent.
I was going to say, I also take medications, and I 100% agree with so. So, funny enough, I actually just started making the move to go from being like a bedside registered nurse to getting my master's. I have my bachelor's right now, to getting my master's in nursing and becoming like a psychiatric nurse practitioner, because medication is important. And I say that I don't take a lot of medications just because I've had negative effects, like antidepressants. I just kind of TMI. I can't handle the sex drive stuff. It drives me insane. Like I have to have libido. But my point being, I take Adderall. That's what I take. I have ADHD. I take Adderall, and that's the only medication I take. But that's okay, and it's also keeping medications. It's perfectly fine. There's always this joke I think of: if you can't produce your own dopamine, store bought is fine.
Yes.
Totally agree. Yeah, I'm on depression, anxiety, more anxiety, migraine, weight loss. Is that came from a whole dealing with migraines, made me gain 70 pounds at some point. So I'm all for and my kid too is neurodivergent, and I have no problems getting him meds, because I can see the difference in both of us when we're properly medicated.
Yeah, I think that's a huge piece right there too, is the properly medicated part. And what you said so is trusting your provider and building a relationship with them.
And if I can interject, I'm sorry, but also leaving your provider if you're not able to get the results that you need is so important. I'm so sorry.
I agree.
Oh no, don't apologize.
No, you're right.
It's really, I think you have to be your own advocate. I learned that when my husband had cancer. You have to advocate for yourself, and a lot of people will just look at you and go, oh, well, it could be this, here, take this. But you need somebody that's really invested in you as a human, and not just a number or a name on a piece of paper, and that really cares to figure out what works best for you and what doesn't. I think that's really important.
I agree, because I've had psychiatrists in the past, and it felt like if you don't trust them, then I think that somehow it can do more damage, especially if they're not validating your feelings and what you're going through, and it's like they're minimizing what you're going through. So I agree with you. You have to kind of trust what's going on. which is might be hard if you start reading and getting obsessed on the internet, like maybe what if it's this, what if it's that. So
Right. And I don't know if men with chronic illness have this experience if they're overweight, but I've had so many steroids, like it's unbelievable, and weight gain. And then you go into the doctor and they're like, well, maybe you should lose
Should
some
lose
weight.
weight. Oh my
Yes.
Lose weight.
God.
And
That is
it-
a common trope for men too.
and is
Pounds
it?
for
And
being on
it's just like,
steroids.
well, if you lost a few pounds, you'd probably feel better. Well, could it be
Yeah.
my fibromyalgia? Could it be my spondyloarthropathy with the psoriatic arthritis? Could it be ADHD? Can it be PTSD or extreme anxiety? I mean, no, here, just lose some weight. Lose some weight. No.
Well, and
I
so many of the
actually-
meds are weight gain meds.
Yes.
I gained a bunch on steroids or something funny. I gained like 7 pounds. I'm like, why are my scrubs so tight? And then I remember I was pregnant for a few weeks. But I actually have a story about what you had said about being written off as just being fat, because I'm not skinny by any means. I am about 201 pounds, 5 foot. So you can kind of imagine what that looks like. And I actually used to be much heavier. And for the longest, I was having palpitations. I was having shortness of breath. I was having issues where I was just feeling not right. And it was always put down to either you're anxious or you're fat, lose weight. And I had actually lost over 100 pounds, and it was still happening. It's like, not so just cardiologist kept writing me off. And then I did a genetic test to try to find out something like about my hypermobility and something, not even related to what was going on there. Because in my mind, I really did think maybe I'm just anxious. Maybe I'm making myself think this. But then we found out that I have a genetic mutation in what's called the LMNA gene, which causes premature heart failure, and actually caused my mom to die at 38 years old, which was also a red flag. Like, why weren't they looking further when my mom died that way? But point being, I'm 28 years old, and I actually have to see like a whole team of specialists, and it turns out it was heart failure, not fat or anxious. So.
Mm-hmm.
That's I
Wow.
empathize a lot. I can't imagine the heart failure part. I mean, I had an incident with a blood clot that sent me into arrhythmia, but I've never had to deal with like true what it might be to confront heart failure. So I've seen in the chats too a lot of for dissent. We're with you. Sorry to hear about, especially from the loss of your coworker, but also that we support you in however we can help. And so I'm making sure for everybody, for Beth, Stephanie, Dissent, and so I'm spreading all of your links in each of the lives. We unfortunately don't have Beth's going live, which is the only one that we don't have. We will work on that for the next time so that we actually get it working. But like, please support everyone. Hit the heart for whichever live you're in. It really does help, especially with the post show, to help boost with pre-likes. And I wanted to ask another question from the chat, which is actually along the same lines, and is something that you brought up, Beth, was the idea of leaving a provider. And that's a really hard thing to do, especially in medical world right now, where you're fairly restricted at times on who you can see. How have, for those who've switched providers, how have you made that decision to leave? And what got you to the point where you wanted to make that decision to leave?
I've left a few providers. When someone isn't hearing you, when you say, I hurt here, but then I'll hurt here, and go through, and they're just, oh, you need rest, you need whatever, or they just dismiss you with a drug instead of saying, let's get to the bottom of it. If you don't feel heard, if they're rude, if they just don't seem committed to your care, then start doing your research, ask around, read reviews, ask other people with chronic illness, and find a doctor that is right for you, or a physician, or even, whatever you can find, Western medicine, Eastern medicine. keep looking. There are some great providers out there, and yes, it is hard right now to get into many of them. I'm even having trouble. I think my doctor for a regular visit is a couple months out. So it is getting more difficult as people are leaving the medical field for so many reasons. But you got to keep pressing, and if you don't, just keep finding the one. They're out there. There's some really good doctors. You just got to keep trying and asking the right questions.
I totally agree. I've been through like 7 different neurologists and lots of different therapists. I think there's sometimes the worry that is not based in, well, it is based in our own reality that we're going to hurt somebody's feelings if we leave them. It's kind of like leaving a hairdresser, like, oh my God, like I'm going to hurt their feelings. And I think we have to get past that and learn to say, I'm going to go find a second opinion, or, and that is really hard. It's hard to do. And, but I've done it any number of times, and finding new ones and getting in to be seen, and, within the next, 6 months or whatever. But, it's hard. Sometimes finding someone new before leaving, you need to find somebody new before you leave someone old, so you don't leave a gap in
That's
care.
Mm-hmm.
But I had a therapist who was like totally, she just talked about herself the whole time. And, finally I was like, no, this, this is supposed to be my time, and found somebody who's like the best therapist I've had. So like sometimes it can be really, really worth it.
Yeah, I agree.
I absolutely. Go ahead, Beth.
So I interrupted. Go ahead.
Oh no, but I think you're absolutely right. Getting a second opinion. I mean, it might sound, well, especially when we worry about other people and their opinion of us. And when you're in a situation that you're not doing well, you don't necessarily have a great opinion of yourself. Do you know what I mean? It's like you feel doubt. It's like you're always thinking about. Basically, I think you're hyper focusing on yourself. So of course, if you try to go and say, well, let's try to be very, very objective about this, and just say, it's, you don't necessarily have, or find, if that really bothers you, that just find some sort of excuse that, if you don't want to hurt them, unless if you don't want to get into a fight, you know what I mean? Like with their ego. So, but getting a second opinion is just like, okay, I'm just going to get a second opinion. Like I have a lot of information. I don't feel well, la, 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 and see how they react. And then, but some might just say, okay, you'll see, it's your decision. And so, yeah, good option.
The good ones will say, yes, please go get a second opinion.
If you hire a plumber, and you have a plumber that comes in and you've had a couple issues, and every time that plumber leaves, you still have an issue, would you keep calling that plumber, or would you seek out a different plumber? You're going to look for somebody who's going to do the job. And that job might be difficult, but you got to keep seeking the right one to fix. I mean, that's just my thought.
Great.
Second opinion really saved my life. Like if I hadn't went and seen another cardiologist, who knows? I could have been the next person to pass away at work. So don't be afraid to advocate for yourself, and don't be afraid to get a second opinion. I say this as respectful as I can. Fuck their feelings. You got to prioritize yourself in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm following the chats too, and I've left a provider also. Mine is a little different because I'm in the VA system, so it's a little easier to say, hey, this provider is not working for me. I need a new one, because they tend to listen, especially if you go to patient advocacy and go, hey, this provider is not working for me. I need a new one. And they'll give you one, because that's their job as a patient lawyer. Is their only job is to protect you as the patient. And I've had that work to my favor. And when you have providers who aren't listening to you, you have to say something. I said something, and this is one of my more vulnerable things, and it left me really in a bad spot emotionally afterwards, and it's impacted my children. Is I had a doctor during an ER visit tell me that my life was worth as little as the provider would have been paid to see me, and that's why he didn't see or respond to my care.
What?
And my way of speaking up at the moment, after I had already spoken to the patient advocate to demand care, was I told the doctor in the ER that I would rather die than hear him say that my wife was worth so little, with my kids and my wife in the room. And I have young children who remember it because they still ask me about it. So if choosing a provider correctly and ensuring that you get your care is super important. Like, I was serious when I said it. And I don't regret saying it. I'm sorry that my kids had to hear it. And it got me, and I did report it. It didn't do anything. I even had the head of medicine at the VA tell me that nothing was going to happen. That provider didn't get a reprimand, or basically that was it. I had to advocate really hard, and everyone, we have to. It took 2 years to get my diagnosis in. And that's short for some people.
Yeah, it is.
And as a male, it's sometimes hard too, because fibro is often seen as a disease that impacts women primarily or only. And getting doctors to believe that I'm not just going, oh, I hurt, and I'm faking it, and I'm not being manly enough in their eyes, it's a real disease, and it's a real condition that impacts men. And I'm not just trying to get out of things. Like, we're facing that. So when you hear bad doctors tell you things, I love your terminology on it, Beth, is treat them as a plumber, treat them as your gardener, treat them like you would somebody who's coming to service your home or your vehicle. And you wouldn't take your car to a bad car shop. So why would you take your body to a bad provider?
Right. It's so important. I have a quick story, if you'll allow it.
No, absolutely.
My son, when he was born back in 92, had severe hemophilia. I did not know that. I didn't know I carried the gene. I was adopted. So 5.5 months old, I woke up and went to unzip my son's pajamas, and he had a hematoma that covered his little chest, and rushed him in and went through the whole process. Well, the way to treat hemophilia at the time was you had to drive all the way into Seattle to the Puget Sound Blood Center, get treated there, or the hospitals weren't familiar with it. We had to train local doctors on what to do. Well, at the hemophilia treatment center, there was a nurse there who was very knowledgeable in hemophilia, but refused to allow parents to be able to treat hemophilia at home. I had read the Swedish studies at the time and knew that time was of the essence in a bleeding situation, obviously, whether it be my son kidney bleed or an ankle bleed. The more it hurts, the more damage it's causing. And so I had to fight the system. They refused to listen. I found a doctor in a small little town, went in there, and he says, have you read the Swedish studies? You can treat this at home. And I went, yes. I found the doctor, and I was able to have a portacath put in my son, and I was able to have him treated at home from the time he was 1. And so it made such a difference in him. I had seen other people that were unable to walk later on in life. So it really is important to advocate for yourself, for your children, for your loved one. So
absolutely
keep looking for the person.
Yeah, and I think that's a great place to leave off our discussion today, because we're just at the top of the hour. And I want to make sure we respect everybody's time. I've got some big stuff coming up later today still too. Some more shows on the docket. But before we go, I want to give everyone a chance real quick, starting from Beth to Descent to Stephanie. Where can we find you? And how can people support your work?
You can find me on Substack under Beth Cruz. I am a fairly new writer, and instead of trying to publish my memoir, I'm going to slowly push my story out onto Substack about my struggles with adoption. So
amazing.
Wow.
That's wonderful.
Descent?
Why
I
don't
don't
I
know.
go and then
Yeah.
I heard little kids in the background. So.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And I don't have one here. So I am on Substack. You can, Nick has been putting the at Freedom Over Fascism on, but you can also get there by going to freedomoverfascism.us. And it takes you straight to my Substack page. I also have a YouTube channel, which is Freedom Over Fascism. So everything that you find on Substack, everything you find on YouTube is on Substack, not the other way around. And I just want to thank everybody for. I mean, I'm only in Nick's live right now, and that's at 159, and that is amazing that you guys are here and talking in the chat and being here with all of us, and we're here for all of you too. So thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Beth. And Descent, are you back with us?
Yeah, sorry, I had to step away for 2 seconds. I apologize.
No problem. And where can everyone find you, Descent? How can we support you?
My Substack is my primary platform. You can find my link tree on my Substack, which has all my other platforms, but my primary platform is Dissent in Bloom, which is DISSENTINBLOOM.substack.com.
Thanks, Descent. And it's been great having you here with us again, Stephanie, Beth. So, where can everybody find you before we go?
Usually I'm at home or I'm running away. No, I'm just kidding. Not running away, but no, I'm mainly on Substack. Substack is where I do everything. It's very creative. So it's just so. If you click on my profile, you'll see it. I have a link to Instagram because I do like photography. I go hiking and I take pictures of mountains, and I love nature. So there will be also pictures of animals and yeah. So, but that's more of a hobby. But yeah. So if you want to interact, I'll be more, I would say, responsive on Substack as of now. But we'll see if I have a new curiosity crisis in the next year. I might be elsewhere, but that's just a joke. So yeah, here. Thank you, Nick.
Well, thank you, Soso. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thanks to all of the over 500 people we have watching between the four.
What?
Are you kidding? Whoa.
Yeah,
Where is that?
There's over 500 of us between my channel, Descent in Bloom. She has over 300 with her. There's 160 plus on mine, 45 with you, Stephanie, and 31 with you, Soso, right now. We're sitting at over 500 of y'all with us this morning. This is incredible.
Thank you.
Wow.
And thank you all for
That speaks
hearing
volumes.
us and seeing us and coming to join us. I host the Chronic Illness in Practice every Monday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Please come back to join me and Soso, as well as Stephanie, Beth, Descent, and anyone else who's able to make it. We're going to continue this series to give everyone a voice and a platform to discuss these issues, how we're working on them, how we're coping, and what we can all do. And how we can learn from each other. So thank you so much to everyone joining. Thank you to the four of you for coming on with me. And as always, let's stop being sick of this shit, friends, and let's start doing this shit. So go have a great day, and I'll see y'all again soon.
Thanks.
Thank you, Nick. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Happy to see you.
Bye.
So.